I'm Leonie Kerswill. I'm a tax partner at PwC. I've been there all my career, not quite as boring as it sounds, because when I joined it was Coopers, we merged with Deloitte, then we merged with PW. So I feel I've been in 3 different places without moving. When Karen asked me to talk about 3 things I wish I'd known, I suddenly thought, oh, I have no idea what I'm going to say. And then all of a sudden I had about 40 things I wanted to say. You'll be pleased to hear I've got a 5-minute curfew, so I'm not going to talk about 40. One of them I'm actually going to re-emphasise, I think, what Stella said. And the first one of those is about the client. I think when I first started out, I was so hung up on, I'm going to meet a client, what exactly are they going to say to me and what is the answer? I tried to preempt everything that was going to come out in the conversation, and I tried to have an answer ready. And I found I was going into meetings and I wasn't even listening to what the client was saying, because all I was thinking was, item 1 they wanted to talk about was VAT, whatever it was, I have an answer. And they could be telling me about something totally different, and I'd just be desperate to tell them my answer, which I'd rehearsed and learned earlier. And I think the first thing I would actually say is clients do not expect you to go out to them with answers. They go out and expect you to talk to them and to listen to them, to ask them about their families, about what worries them, about their businesses, what concerns them. Answers will flow from that. And actually, a lot of clients, again, Stella's point, if you don't know an answer to a question, do not try and bluff it. A lot of clients will have spent a little time looking it up already. If you don't know something, say it. You get much more respect. Don't say, I just don't know. Say, you know, my initial reaction, my gut reaction is, you know, it would work like this because that's a common sense approach, but tax isn't common sense, or whatever the topic is, isn't always common sense, but I'll go and check. And if you say you'll go and check, do it. But don't bluff and don't try and get hung up about right answers. It's about listening to the client and the relationship. Because if you get a good relationship with a client, then actually that will carry you through a lot of rocky and bumpy times. And with any relationship, you know, whether it's a personal or a business relationship, it's not all smooth. There will be rough times. Things will go wrong. You know, something will get put in the wrong envelope. The wrong email will get sent. Something will happen which may or may not be your fault. And you have to have that relationship with the client. You can go to them and say, hands up, we cocked up. Really, really sorry. You know, this is how it's going to be sorted, or this is how it's going to be done. You know, and clients are human. They accept no one's perfect. So I would take that point. It's not the right answer. It's the relationship that's key. The other 2 points I was going to make is more about personal progression through a career, through a firm. So one of the ones I used to have a lot of difficulty with was about telling people what I do within the firm, because it always sounded like I was going to knock on someone's door and say, hey, look at me, aren't I great? You know, I can do this, I can do that. And it was really hard when you got to appraisal time or where you got to a promotion process for me to go and have those conversations and explain to people what I thought I was good at. Because it just felt like I was blowing my own trumpet or I was bragging. So the way I positioned it was that if I was in my reporting partner's shoes, I need to understand what's happening in the business, what people are doing, what's working, maybe what's hot out there, what's not working. So I would position my conversation with them about helping them to understand what I was doing in the market, how it could help the business, maybe where there were opportunities for other people. But also that would then give them the opportunity to say, do you know, I think that's brilliant what you're doing, but actually I think you're missing a bit here. So you could learn, you could improve. And also the other point about that is people are flattered because it's more as if you're asking their opinion, and people like to be consulted. It's sort of human nature. And people get flattered by that. So I think for me that was a much easier conversation to have as I went through my career about explaining to people what I thought I was doing and what I was quite good at without appearing like I was blowing my own trumpet. I think a lot of people are quite good at blowing their own trumpets, but for those who aren't, that's just another technique to position it, to have the conversation. And the other point about career progression I wanted to say was it's very important to have, and I don't really care what you call them, a mentor, someone you can talk to, someone who's more senior in the organisation, who's not in your reporting line. But the one thing they need to do, you have to have absolute trust they're going to tell you the truth. And they're going to tell you the truth about what other people think about you. So this isn't a feedback. This is just if you think you're in a process, you're going through a promotion or a bonus round or whatever it is that you think you've done really well, someone will say to you, yeah, you've done well, but actually there's a little bit of body of thought that thinks maybe you didn't really work as hard as you could have done, or maybe you didn't quite do this. So I think you have to have someone more senior to you who is going to not take you under their wing, but at least you can trust to be absolutely honest with you, and give you the story, warts and all. Because someone who just says, yes, you're doing fine, you know, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got, and you'll never get any further along. So I think in terms of own career progression, I would say that. So it's the relationship, it's how to explain to people what you're doing and what you're good at, and it's also having someone who will help you and take you under their wing. And those are my 3 things I wish I'd known.